welcome to episode 27 of That's So You. My name is
Hello.
Diane,
Hello.
also known as Mrs.
Hello.
You. Hello. This is a mainly knitting podcast, but there's also some crochet and other crafty bits and bobs too sometimes. If this is your first time viewing, thank you for joining us. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. Today's episode may not be as long as usual because I don't have a whole lot of things to show. But I won't say outright that it will be a short episode. Look, can you sit next to me if you want to eat? As you can see, Little Miss is here. I picked her up from nursery. Thank you. I picked her up from nursery an hour ago, so she's just having something to eat and watching a bit of TV. Today is the 17th of September. It's about 10 minutes past 1. So yeah, let's get things started. So starting off with done and dusted, I have two finished objects, but only one of them is with me. If you follow me on Instagram, and also if you've seen the last episode, you would have heard me talk about the friends of Little Miss and the Tripletmas who came to stay, spend the day who spent the day with us towards the end of the summer holidays. And one of the boys, the younger brother, asked if I could knit him some socks. So I did knit him the socks, and they are with him now. I've posted a picture on not YouTube, on Instagram, so I can show you those now. Do you mind? Yeah, I will look in a moment. Hold on, thank you. See, you made me do the wrong password. Alright, let's see. There we go. So I can show you those now. I posted the picture onto my Ravelry page. I know it would be a lot quicker to just show you using my phone, but I'm using my phone to record, and also if I just put the picture in afterwards. But then doing this saves me from having to edit it in later. So here's a picture of the socks. The yarn I use, I believe it's Drops Fable. I can't remember the colorway. I think it's something like Blue Lagoon or something like that. The contrasting color that I've used for the heels and one of the cups is from a mini that I got from Frankenstein Yarns. And this other orange there, it's thank you. I can't remember what yarn that is. It might be I don't think it's the West Yorkshire spinner that I used in my last sock pattern, because that was a DK rate, but it's just some scrap yarn I had. Because the yellow yarn that I used for this, I was working on it last Monday, I think it was, in the morning, because it was going to be his first day of school. So, have you finished? Yeah, put it over there on the table. Last Monday was his first day of school, and so I wanted them to give him the socks on Monday. So Monday morning I finished the heel on one of the socks, and then I put the leftover part of that mini skein aside, and then when I came back from dropping them at school, I worked the leg, and then when I went back to finish the cuff, I couldn't find the rest of that mini skein, and the only other color I know I have a kind of yellowy, mustardy yellow, and I couldn't find that either. So this was the closest thing that kind of went with the other colors. And so then I gave it to him when I went to pick up the Tripletmas from school, and he was fine with it. He was very happy with his socks, very excited to receive them. When I got there, I called him forward and I said to him I had a little package for him, and he said, "Oh, I know what it is. It's my socks." So he was very excited to receive those. But now his older brother, who's in the same class as the Triplettes, wants a pair of socks as well. So I've told him that I will make him some socks, and I will also make the Triplettes and Little Miss some socks, but they wouldn't be getting them yet. I'm going to make all of them socks and then just give everybody the socks at the same time, so nobody's wondering why he's got his socks and I don't have my socks yet. So yes, so that was them, and they've been entered into the pigskin party, which is a cow being hosted by Boston Jen, and that's her Ravelry name, on from Ravelry, on her Ravelry Group, which is the Down Cellar Studios podcast. So do check that out and take part in the cow. It's a lot of fun. It ties in with the Super Bowl, so it won't be finishing, I think, February when the Super Bowl ends, if that's when it ends. I'm not too sure, but yeah, so that's been entered into that. So yeah, they were quick to work up. I made the first sock pretty much in one. I didn't technically make it in one day, but pretty much it was one day. And the second sock, similar sort of thing. It technically worked over 3 days, but in terms of the amount of time spent on it, it's the equivalent of a day, because, you know, he's 5 now. Coincidentally, I gave him the socks 2 days before his birthday, so that was good. So he's now 5, so he has small feet, so it was quick to work up his socks. But he's very happy with them, and they were nice, quick make just to get me on the pigskin party ladder, just to kind of bump up my points on there. So my other finished object, I didn't bring my what's it called, sock blockers, but let me just show you first and then I'll go and get those quickly. It's a final sock in the Fairly Odd Socks collection. I still don't have a name for these, and again, if you follow me on Instagram, I can't remember if I showed these on Instagram or if I just showed the stole section, but these are the socks. So one of them has a diamond stitch pattern that just goes what's that direction, horizontally, and the other one has a same stitch pattern but it goes vertically. So this one you can see more that it's going vertically. This one, because of the nature of the stitch, you can't tell so much that it's just going horizontally. So that was the doorbell. But getting back to what I was saying, yeah, this one, it's obvious to see that the stitch pattern is going vertically, but this one, because of the way the stitch pattern is worked, it's not so obvious that it's just going horizontally. So it looks like it's more of an all-over sort of pattern. But these are the socks that gave me a bit of trouble, because initially I had planned to work this all over the sock, but the nature of this stitch pattern means that it's difficult to work in the round. It's easier when worked flat, and so I started it again for that reason, and also because they were working up a little tight. So yeah, this is the final sock in the collection. The yarn I used is Malabrigo, I think it's just Malabrigo sock in the Africana Violetta or African Violet colorway. And these are my first purple socks. So I've still got quite a bit of that yarn left. So I might use them, the rest, to make minis if there's enough. I think I can get a good pair of minis from 50 grams. So I'll use the rest to make minis. And as I was answering the door, I picked up the sock blockers, so I will put that on the blockers and show you what it looks like. So, excuse me, do you mind? Missy. Right, so that's the first one.
Mommy!
Yes. I need to sort out that heel
I
there.
got this one.
Hold on. You want a tablet?
Yeah.
Well, you can't have the tablet and watch that at the same time. So which one is it going to be? The TV or the tablet?
Tablet.
Okay, hold on.
Mommy.
Yes, hold on, please.
I don't know what's over there.
Hold on, please.
Mommy.
I'm coming. Hold on, let me show this one quickly. Right, so this is the one where it goes vertically. Yes, vertically, and this is the horizontal one. So I do need to come up with a name for this soon, so that I can start writing up the pattern and sort out all the other patterns in the collection. Hold on, please. Let's see. There you go. Right, so the heel I used for this was did I use German short row? Yes, I used a German short row heel for this one. For the socks I made for her friend, I used wrap and turn heel because it was a contrasting colour, which also turned out quite good. It's been a while since I did a wrap and turn heel, so I might do that for the next heel, the socks that I make, or use a heel from the sock architecture book that I got from my friend, which I will be doing a review on sometime soon, maybe next week sometime. Oh, and talking of reviews, I have, when was it? Yesterday night, uploaded a review video of Melanie Berg's new book called Shawls. So do check that out. If you are subscribed, and if you're not, just hit the subscribe button before we part ways. And if you are subscribed and you haven't clicked on the notification bell, do that so that you'll be notified whenever I upload something new. So some of you who have done that already would already know that the review video is up, but you can check that out once this podcast is finished. So yeah, that was up yesterday, just going over the book, which is amazing, and I would recommend everyone to get that book, especially if you are an avid shawl knitter. So they are my finished objects. They're not really finished. I have been doing a little bit of polymer clay stuff today, and there's some stuff I did a while back, but I haven't kind of like sanded them and glazed them, so I'll try and do that this week, and then I will show you those in the next episode. And plus it's in the kitchen and I'm kind of feeling a bit lazy to get up again, but yeah, there wouldn't be a whole lot to show because most of them I still need to sand and glaze, so technically they're not finished. On the needles, I've technically got 3 projects on the needles, but one of them I only started working on again yesterday, so there isn't a whole lot done of work that's been done on it, so I might show you that once I've shown you the others. The other whips I have are one is a design project, which is this crochet shawl that I showed in the last episode. I showed you the sample. I've now started it off properly. I did block the sample, and I was happy with the type of the drape I was getting from it using the 3.5mm hook. Oh, for the socks I made for her friend, I used I think I did use 2.25, my usual But if you check my Ravelry page, I've got details of the numbers and everything on there. But I think it was about I think it was 40 or 42 stitches I had, something in that range. That's how much I used for the sock. But again, getting back to the shawl, yeah, so this is what I've got so far, and I don't know if you probably can't notice it from there, but I've added some beads. It's not showing up too well on the camera. You can just about make them out there. So this shawl, the yarn I'm using is 3rd Volt Yarn's Librarian Sock in the One Single Tribe colorway, which is a Black Panther inspired colorway. So as it's a Black Panther inspired colorway, I'm doing a Black Panther inspired pattern. This pattern is called Shared Resources. Normally I don't talk about the pattern name. I'll even show you the pattern when I'm designing it, but for this, because I want this to be done in time for Black History Month, which is in October over here. I don't know if it's in a different time of the year in other countries, but here in the UK it's in October, so I wanted to be ready in time for that. Hopefully it will. I need to work more on it to make sure that's done. So I think as a way of just kicking me into gear to get it done, I'm showing you so that way you can actually see the progress on it. So this is what I have so far, which isn't much. I'm probably about halfway where I want to be before I need to stop increasing. What's making this take a bit long is just having to add the beads onto it. So that's the only thing that's taking time. Other than that, I'm just whizzing through it. And also because I'm having to add beads, I can't really work on this late towards the evening because the lighting here isn't so good. We've been having issues with our lighting, so we just have the lighting that we have available isn't so good for working with when it's dark. So most of this has to be done during the day, and during the day I'm busy with other things. So I will try and work on this before I pick up the triple artist from school, but that's what I've got. And also, being that it involves beads, it's not something I can really carry around with me unless I'm working the stitches in between the beads, which isn't that much. So I might make this a semi-car project. I'll just carry around with me places. So if I am sitting in the car waiting for the bell to go at the end of the day, I'll just see how much of it I can work. But then I don't always use the car to take them to and from school. Anyway, hopefully I will get this finished on time. If not, as long as I'm within the October region, I wanted to finish it at least before the middle of October, so at least I can catch some of Black History Month. But yes, that is Shared Resources, and it's the only design project I have at the moment. Though after this I have another shawl pattern that I have planned as well. I'm going to make this end of this year more about shawls, maybe the beginning of next year as well. The beads I'm using are these. I got these from Beads Direct. They are they are size 8. So, or is that size 6? No, that's size 8, definitely, yeah. You can see there. I had contemplated going toward a size 6, so it's going to be between the two. So size 6 would have been bigger, but I like the size. I like that it's subtle. I think if I were to do them bigger, I think I wouldn't really mind that, but I do like the subtlety of the beads, though I would have preferred it if they were shiny. I had a bit of a gloss to them, but those ones that were shiny weren't the right color I wanted. They tended to be a bit more green or have kind of a metallic green on the inside, and I wanted something that would blend in, either something that was blue to kind of match the color of kind of vibranium, or something that blended in well with the yarn itself, so that it would just be kind of there but not really noticeably there. So yeah, that's what I have for this design, and that is living in the bag that I received as part of the Alchemist Tote Club from Third Vault Yarns, and this bag was designed by Knit Rundig. This was part of the Space quarterly theme. The next whip I have is the sweat jumper that I'm making for Mr. A few days ago, well, let me just show you where I'm up to. Last time I showed this is what I have now. Last time I showed this, I was around there somewhere, and then a few days ago, I think maybe Friday or might even be Saturday, I decided to stop working this stitch pattern, which is the Hermione's Everyday Sock stitch pattern, and then just work in stocking stitch, because it was starting to it was kind of slowing me down, and I really want to get this finished. So because I've still got the jumper for Jimmy Jr. and Little Miss to make, so I just wanted to get this finished. So I'm now at the stage where I'm going to work the hem. So I'm currently on 4mm needles. I'm going to switch down to a 3.5 or maybe even a 3, and then do a 1x1 rib, probably for about an inch or so. I'm using Flax Light by Tinkan Knits as a base, as sort of like a foundation pattern, just to get the numbers and the sizings and stuff. So I'll do the hem for about an inch or so, and then I'll start to work on the sleeves. So haven't tried it on him, I've just held it up on top of him, and he didn't realize it was his. He kept saying to me, "Oh, why do you keep calling me to try this on?" And I said, "Because it's yours." And he goes, "Oh." I said, "Yes." So he knows now that this is his. So I'm sure he's very pleased with it. Yesterday when I was getting their clothes out for church, I was sorting through the box, because in the morning it was a little bit cooler. I was sorting through the box of the jumpers and stuff I'd put away. Jimmy Jr. was in the bedroom with me in their room, and I pulled out the Flax Light jumper that I made for them last year and said, "Oh, do you want to wear this?" He said yes. And so when we always lay out their clothes in here on the chairs, and then Mr. went to pick up the clothes that had been left out for Jimmy Jr. and was trying to put them on. I said, "No, that's your brother's." So he was a bit upset because he wanted to wear the jumper as well. But I said, "Don't worry, next time you can wear it." So he will be happy when this is done and he can get to wear his own jumper. And also Mr. Man, he has his jumper that I've already made for him. He'll be able to start wearing his one soon, but I would have to make adjustments just to make it longer, because that boy constantly has growth spurts, so I'll have to adjust the length on his one. So this is where I'm up to now. I think it's looking very good, and I do like having that stitch pattern kind of in the middle. I think it has a nice effect, the way it's part way in the first yarn and part way in the second one. This yarn is also Third Vault yarns. If you watch this podcast a lot, you know that I use Third Vault yarns a lot. The top one here is in Companion 4-ply, and that is the colorway is Cosmic Turtle, and the bottom half is Librarian Sock, and the colorway is Death. So yeah, the top bit one, I think that's a merino, and the Librarian Sock, the bottom half, that's a BFL, I think it's a BFL nylon mix. So that's my second whip. Shall I show you the third one? Let me get it. Right. Living in my diva bag is the Swing Me Right Round top. This is designed by Lola Johnson. She is the dyer behind Third Vault Yarns. It's a top, a reversible top, and I'm at the section now where I'm just kind of doing the top half of the body, the cowl neck section of the body, and also working the sleeves at the same time. So now it is just plain stocking stitch with increases to make the cowl section. So yeah, I picked that up last night. Once I realized that I'm coming towards the end of this ball for Mr's jumper, and the other skein is in the bedroom and it's not wound into a ball yet, so I thought I might as well get started on this. The yarn is Cascade Heritage sock yarn, and the colorway is navy, I think. It's not written here, but I think it's like navy or something. And I got this as a detached shirt. This is, I'm on the second ball now, I believe. Yeah, I had 3 balls all together, I think. Yes, I think it was 3 altogether. And so I'm on the second ball now. So that's that. So this will be the front part, and this will be the back, and the back will have something else going on with it. So yeah, that's all of my finished projects and whips. I think that's everything I have to show. There's no goodies for this episode, and in terms of waiting in the wings, there aren't any particular projects that I have in mind to start, especially with the fact that I have to finish the shared resources shawl, and also write up the Fairly Odd Socks patterns, and do the sweaters for everyone. So yeah, there aren't going to be any other patterns or things that I'm planning on casting on other than the socks, but I don't know exactly when I will start on those. So yeah, if you are only here for the knitting, I'm now going to move on to the word of the month section. That's where I share some scripture to hopefully encourage you in the weeks or months going forward. So if that's not for you and you're just here for the knitting, thank you for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed the episode and you do come back for more. As I said, please subscribe and like, comment. All those are more than welcome and help to boost the podcast when it comes to YouTube recommendations, and also hit the notification button so that you know when other things are uploaded. Now that Little Miss has started nursery, I will be able to do more things, such as recording tutorial videos like I used to do a lot in the past, and also recipe videos. So more of they will start to happen more frequently. Yeah, so do look out for those in the future, and also don't forget to head over to the blog. I'll put details of that in the description box, and check out some of the things I've written there, and join the Ravelry group. I do have a I don't know what's wrong with my lips today. The Ravelry group, Mrs. You Makes, and I would have put it on the screen at the beginning, but you can find me on Instagram as Mrs. You Makes, and on Ravelry as YummyTripletMummy. They're the main social medias that I use. So if you are going to go, thank you for coming, and I will see you soon. If you are staying, the word for the month is going to be taken from the book of James, chapter 3, verses 2 to 10. It reads, "We all stumble in many ways. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. All kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by mankind. But no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Whenever I read this, it always reminds me of how powerful our words are, and how it's so hard for us sometimes to control the things we say. I mean, how many times have you said something and regretted it straight away and said to somebody, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it, or it wasn't meant to come out that way? And how many times has somebody said something to you that was hurtful and they themselves said the same things, that it wasn't something that they meant, the words just came out, or you've taken it in the wrong way. So this just shows us that the tongue is a very powerful thing. And I think, when people say things like sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me, I would say to an extent that's true, but to another extent, words can hurt. You have kids who are bullied in school and end up sometimes committing suicide simply because of words that somebody has said. You can have a child who may not be doing well in school, but because of the wrong words being said to them, they become more and more discouraged. Or if somebody is speaking positive words to them, they become more encouraged, and then they begin to improve in what they're doing. So words are very powerful. What we say is very powerful, and it's important to always be aware of what we say, not just to ourselves but to other people. I always have to remember when I'm doing homework with the boys, if there's parts of the work that I know that they can do, I have to be careful of what I say to them, not to discourage them and make them think that they can't do it. I have to show them that I know that they can do it, and they know that they can do it. They just have to try and focus, but to try and say that in a positive way, so they don't feel discouraged, they don't become disheartened and think, what's the point? I think it's important that we are always mindful of how the words we say affect other people. Is what we're saying something that's encouraging to another person? Is it going to lift them up? Is it going to cause them to, when they leave whatever interaction we're having with them, is it going to cause them to have had a positive experience? Or when they walk away, will they be discouraged? Will they be dwelling on the words that you said and thinking that maybe you're right, that they're not able to do this particular thing? Or will they be leaving themselves cursing you and saying things against you because you've been so negative towards or about them? And in the same way, when people say things to you, it's important that we don't allow that to dwell upon us, and know that maybe it's something that the person didn't mean to say, or even if they did mean to say it, not allowing their words to affect us, but looking within ourselves and to find our own positive words for ourselves, and dwelling on what we think about ourselves and what we say about ourselves and our situation. I think it's especially with children, I think it's important that even when you don't think that they are listening, just with them being in the room, what we say is important, so that they're not discouraged, they don't get the wrong ideas about life, about their own self-image. I was fortunate to be brought up in a household where I would say image wasn't important in the sense that I didn't always have close family members constantly going on about weight and hair and how they looked. So for me, things like that hasn't been an issue. But I know people who, from a young age, all they've been hearing is, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, oh, look at this, look at that, or my eyes look like this, my nose looks like that. So as they get older, that's what they start seeing in themselves, and it becomes something that's easy for them to start thinking, oh well, if my mom or my dad or somebody wants to change that about them, and kept seeing it as an issue or a problem within themselves, then maybe it's a problem for me to be that way or to look that way. So even small things like that, we have to be careful of what we say when people who we have some sort of influence over are around us, so that they're not picking up on negative vibes and then placing that on themselves. So I'll say for myself also, I don't always do this, but I do try to be careful of the things I say and how they said, especially when small children are around me, which is a lot. I'm always surrounded by children, as you can see. So I do try to be careful of what's being said, how I'm saying things, so those things aren't picked up and then put in their vocabulary. Because with little miss also, things that are said, she will pick up like that and start repeating it. There was a time when there was a particular phrase she kept repeating over and over again because she was hearing it coming from a particular program, I think, or one of the kids that her brothers were playing with, and she kept repeating it, and it just took time for us to get her to stop saying it. I think it's only when it got to the summer holidays, because she wasn't around them all the time, then she stopped saying it. So it's important, I think, that we just have in mind that words are important, words are powerful. Words can do so much good, but they could also do so much wrong. So going forward, I think for myself and for others, just be encouraged to think about what you're saying. Make sure that what you're saying is encouraging to other people. Make sure what you're saying is encouraging to yourself. Don't wake up thinking, oh my goodness, oh, I'm going to hate today, it's going to be such a terrible day, I'm going to do this wrong, I'm going to do that wrong. And just wake up having in mind that, number one, things are going to go great. There's no reason why things shouldn't go great for that day. And number two, even if they don't go the way you planned them to go, it might not always be a terrible thing. There are still so many good things that could come out of the day. If you miss the bus, again, missing the train, getting late for work, having to sit next to the annoying person at work, always just go back to yourself and try and think of something positive to bring out from the situation, something positive to say, even to the person. I think sometimes it can stump people when they say something negative to you or do something negative and you just come out with something positive. It stumps them because it's not what they are expecting. They're expecting you to hit back at them. But when you're constantly coming up with something positive, number one, they realize they can't get to you as easily, and number two, some situations it may mean that they stop trying, or they stop doing this, or maybe they see themselves that they're being negative. So yeah, just let's all be watchful of the words we say, the things we think as well, what we say about ourselves and towards other people, and hopefully we can just encourage one another in our endeavors, in the things that we do, and everybody can just grow and just enjoy life. You know, there's enough miserable things happening in the world without everyone bringing each other down. But if we're all positive and work together, encourage each other, build everybody up, not comparing and competing all the time, but just wishing others well, even if they're, for example, as a knitwear designer, I'm always happy when I see other people bringing up great patterns. I still buy patterns from other people. I don't see them as being competition in that way. For me, I would buy someone else's pattern as a way of encouraging them, especially if they were an up-and-coming somebody who's just started designing, just as a way of encouraging them. So let's all be encouraging to one another, build each other up, and watch our words. So I hope that has been encouraging for you, and that you have a great rest of the day, week, month. Do come back for the next episode, and also don't forget to watch the review videos and check out all the other stuff that's on the Mrs. You Makes channel. Bye.